Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the reboot of the reboot of the reboot of Tony Talks. It's been some time since I checked in on everybody, and I wanted to let you all know that I'm coming back with a vengeance. With a vengeance. A vengeance against who? I don't know. There hasn't been anybody that has really wronged me into not doing this podcast or into doing this podcast, but I'm back anyway. Um, It's been a couple of months. There's been some things going on in the world. We have a couple of new COVID variants that I'm sure everybody's excited about. You got the Delta, the Echo, the Chambers, the 36 Chambers variant, which has been hitting Staten Island pretty hard, and it's been pretty devastating about this new omegacron COVID variant that has now killed over 0 people, I believe. I hope that number is accurate by the time this comes out because it's it's sad if somebody catches it and dies from it, of course, but hopefully nobody still has. And but that's okay though, because New York City is doing everything they can do to make sure that the Omicron variant is stopped in its tracks, mandating vaccines for all public and private employees. Good for them. I think that's the way it should be. I think that if you're going to be tyrannical and in people's lives, you may as well go all the way with it. You may as well force people to get the vaccine, make sure they get all the boosters, the upgrades, and the sequels to all these booster shots and everything because what are you going to do? You're going to take a chance with something that's been described as having very mild side effects? I don't think so. I think you should really get the Moderna and the Pfizer at the same time because a lot of the scientists, the science, I'm with the science, I'm with Tony Fauci. He's a good friend of mine. I think he's related to my family somehow. We're both New Yorkers, we're both our last names end in a vowel. So we're pretty much paisans, we're cousins. Dr. Tony Fauci and Tony Librera were good. I could probably give him a call and see which vaccines work best, and I think you should probably mix them up. That's my thing, and my name is Tony as well, so it's pretty much the same thing as being like Dr. Fauci and being for the science. So they're saying now that the best thing we could do about these vaccinations is mix them up. You get the Moderna, you get the Pfizer, get the J&J, get all three at the same time. Who gives a shit? I mean, there's no side effects to these things. So that's what the Fauci's saying, and it's the best thing to do. Give it to your fight. I think the newborns, when they get out from now on, they're in the hospital. We take no chances with these kids. These newborns, there could be a threat. People like to hold the babies. They spit up on you. Stick them with the needle immediately. Give them a jab. Give them some J&J. Give them some Moderna. Give them some Pfizer, AstraZeneca. Throw that shit in there too. Plop these kids out of their mother's womb, stick them with a couple of freaking who knows what kind of vaccine, J&J, which is immediate, which the efficiency, whatever the fuck, how good it is, how much it works is 1% after 6 months. So you may as well just give that to everybody every month. You should go get the J&J vaccine. That's what I think. And I'm just trying to support the science, which Dr. Fauci does. And he's a paisan. Both our names end in a vowel, so I'm gonna follow him around. That's the most important thing we could do is not really question our governmental leaders and just take. There was things that happened with the polio vaccine years after it was distributed to people that caused major illnesses in individuals. Of course, I don't have that information in front of me right now because this isn't really a well-researched podcast, but you know, what are the odds that something like that could happen with a rapidly developed vaccination where the long-term trials are being experimented on with us every day, and we'll probably find out whatever ramifications that has years down the road? Why worry about that stuff? If Dr. Fauci is with the science, you do what he does. You wear the 3-4 masks, whatever he's requiring at the time, You get the AstraZeneca, the Pfizer, the Moderna, the Megatron, the omegacron. You get the vaccinations, the boosters for these things. I think every 3 months is probably the best solution for that, you know, and you're good to go. Even though there's no proof, or, if you get the shot, you could get the COVID anyway and you could still be hospitalized. I just don't understand why people are questioning Dr. Fauci. I mean, these vaccinations have been around for many months now, like over 10 months. These vaccines have really been around. I mean, that's enough time for me to know what the long-term side effects of these things are. And I'm not going to question anything because Dr. Fauci said so. So I know that things like the flu shot have been around since the 30s, and other vaccines took years and years to develop, and you don't really learn what the long-term effects of these things are until way down the road. But what are we going to do? Question Dr. Fauci? I'm with the science. I'm just trying to be with the science. I'm trying to be with Dr. Fauci, I'm trying to talk with my hands. I'm trying to say, hey, we got to do it like this. All right, Dr. Fauci Paisan. He's a governmental worker. Governmental workers are always very, they're usually the top people in their fields. And he's a doctor. He's Dr. Fauci. So I'm just going to go by what he says. Cool. So the omegacron, it's around, and I'm really I'm wearing a mask right now. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, that's a lie, but I should be wearing a mask, even though I'm home alone right now and nobody's within. I don't know. My neighbor is next door, but he's in his house. I'm in my house. I still think I should be wearing a mask just in case any of this any of this potential COVID that could be happening goes through the walls or anything. You don't know what these variants could do. And there's new sequels and there's new descendants and there's the Rewards Plus program coming out every day. So you never know how they work. And I'm just trying to follow orders and everything. So it's probably best that we wear a mask after we get our boosters, and we mix and match everything. We mix and match masks as well. You get the KN95, you get the N95, you get the surgical mask, the cloth mask. It's probably best to have one of each mask on your face as well, because they all do different things. You know, they all do different things. I'm sure. I'm just gonna assume that based on, you know, science, and I'm with the science. So yeah. Anyway, Kyle Rittenhouse got off. Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse, and it was very interesting when he was released. They had the kid. I'm gonna look his name up while I'm doing this. The kid from the pro-life march, the Catholic school, and the Catholic. You can't say anything about the Catholic. I mean, it's a religion. Anything to do with the Catholic religion, they never did anything bad to anybody. They never, traumatized any kids or anything. So, God bless them as well. I mean, it's a whole religion, and surely they have nothing corrupt about the Catholic religion or anything. So right away, they got to be right with whatever it is that they're doing. So Kyle Rittenhouse was advised on Fox News by the young man that was involved in a video while being a part of a pro-life march. The kid that was the Native American that got in the kid's face, which we all found out um, after the media and everything, they kind of jumped the gun a little bit. Okay, they kind of looked at one picture of this kid that was, I'm sure, is a perfect child. The Native American got in his face, and now this kid's making millions of dollars suing CNN. And God bless him. I hope he gets all the money in the world. I can't. I gotta look up his name. Give me 1 second, guys. Kyle Rittenhouse advised by Catholic pro-life Native American pro. You think that'll come up for that Native American protest? That's what I'm googling right now. Okay. Let's see here. No, it's not. It's not. Oh no, Red Hat Kid from Covington has opinions on Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Yeah, the Red Hat Kid. What the fuck is his name? Nick Sandman. That's right. So Fox News goes and gets the kid, the MAGA pro-life rally kid that was if you don't know the story, look it up. I'm sure you've heard of it. He was at the rally, then the Native American guy got in his face, but they made it seem like the kid got in his face and they just had to stare down and whatever. This whole fucking thing is always, oh, how is this even news? These news outlets, they get a stupid video that's 5 minutes long, and then they say, look at this race and whatever the fuck they were saying about the kid. And now he's on Fox News giving his opinion on Kyle Rittenhouse. And now those two should go start. That should be the next podcast. That should be the next podcast, or they should get a Fox News show, Mornings with Sandman and Rittenhouse. And they could advise the young youth how to be conservative in the right way. Because they had him, Sean Hannity had Sandman on and was asking him for his opinion on whether Rittenhouse should sue Joe Biden, because Joe Biden, during his campaign, they put an image of Kyle Rittenhouse up and they were talking about white supremacy, which is fucked up. It's fucked up, whatever. But why is they got this Sandman kid, Nick Sandman, like he's an expert. All he was some 17-year-old or 16 at the time at a rally. Somebody put a camera up to him with the Native American dude. And because of how he was portrayed in the media, he was able to sue all these people, which is fine. But how are we going to have him on the news giving a serious talk about legal advice about whether or not it's justified in suing the president of the United States, whether he's asleep, awake, you like him, you don't, whatever. You got this kid giving it, and it drives me crazy to watch him on Sean Hannity. We're going to be joined now by Nick Sandman, whatever his name is. And they're going to be talking about what is your opinion on the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And, the media didn't do good. The media did bad. And now he should sue them. And yeah, Rittenhouse probably should sue the media because of how the way everything turned out and the way the initial reaction and how it was totally race baiting and creating this debate on whether a white person could kill other white people and get away with it, which is what was ultimately what whatever. I'm not going to go through the legalities of everything, but I'm pretty sure most people didn't even know that it was just white people that were involved that he got acquitted of defending himself from, because the media just likes to divide this shit. Instead of giving attention to the Ahmaud Arbery trial, where there was like 3 or 4 white dudes that were obviously, there was racial division driven behind their pursuit of Arbery. Was just some dude jogging in his neighborhood. They put all this attention on fucking Rittenhouse, instead of talking about something that's obviously literally black and white. Some dude's jogging in your neighborhood, you chase him down, you kill him. That got like no media burn. The jury got it right, in my opinion. I don't know, whatever the fuck that's worth. In Rittenhouse, the jury got it right, but because there was a story to be made or fucking Rittenhouse, that's what got all the attention. And now this kid's gonna have a show with some other 12-year-old on Fox News about who the fuck knows. It's weird. Nothing makes fucking sense. But that's what it is. That's who's on your trusty news networks giving you opinions on things. He fucking Sean Hannity talking to this kid like he's got any clue about what the fuck he's talking about. No life experience, and he's like, yeah, I think he should go after the president. It's like, okay, yeah, let's take his word for it. Oh my God. So anyway, we got Ghislaine Maxwell trial going on now. By the way, this podcast, the new Tony Talks, it's going to be no controversial stuff. Everything's going to be pretty straightforward. Nothing that should ruffle any feathers, nothing that should alarm any parents on Facebook or, YouTube or Excel, PowerPoint. It should all be good. I think those are the big social networks now. So Ghislaine Maxwell, she was the madam for Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know if she was I don't know what the fuck, but she was Jeffrey Epstein's closest, his number two. And, of course, Jeffrey Epstein, quote unquote, killed himself in his cell and had all the very big politicians, billionaires fly back and forth on his I forgot what the fuck, the Pedo Express or whatever the fuck his private jet is called, to his island, where he had underage girls or girls, some girls were of age. I think that's a defense that Ghislaine Maxwell was using. What's the big deal? Some of them were 17 or 18 or whatever the fuck the legal limit is. So, and it's coming out or came out that Jeffrey Epstein himself, I think Ghislaine Maxwell may have been there or was there for a good portion of these visits to the West Wing of the White House, meaning that he was there visiting um, Bill Clinton when Bill Clinton was in office. Of course, it would be old tricky Bill. And they got the pilot of the trial saying that they saw Donald Trump on the pilot of Epstein's private plane. They saw Trump. There was a couple of other names that came out, but Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are probably the two most high-profile individuals that have been publicly associated with Epstein at this point. However, they're not saying that they saw them do anything sexual or whatever. It's just they seem to be associates of some kind. And pretty much all that's coming from this trial and the very limited media coverage that it's getting. Again, there's some trials going on, and the one that got the most attention was fucking Kyle Rittenhouse. But we're going to ignore a guy that had billionaires and politicians in his back pocket and was running a human sex trafficking ring. And we're just going to give very surface level details on that trial. We're looking at the tip of the iceberg instead of the mammoth iceberg that's underneath the water, about all the details that went on. Because it looks like they're just going to say Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell recruited these girls and they touched them inappropriately and abused them themselves, instead of getting to the real heart, which is disgusting on its own. But there are there was the fucking prince, one of the, I don't know if it was Andrew or Edward or whoever the fuck it was from England, was on the flight as well. Was seen on Epstein's plane, according to his pilot. Instead of getting to the root of these matters about how these people, or what the fuck all these people are doing and associating with Jeffrey Epstein and seeing what's going on at his island, we're just going to get the surface level, the stuff we already know about, that this guy was a creep, this guy touched underage girls, and we're not going to get to the whole global cabal that's involved in abusing these kids and exactly what other people may have been involved with and what exactly went on at his island, instead of just the disgusting surface level abuse from Epstein, which we all already fucking knew about. So there's layers to this, and we're only getting the top layer of it. And the media doesn't give a fuck. Twitter banned an account that was giving out Ghislaine Maxwell trial updates. I think there was somebody else that they took information down from the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. But we could talk about Kyle Rittenhouse to fucking death and have Sandman on the fucking Sean Hannity, but God forbid you talk about a trial that really has more. There's a lot more that we don't know about. You fucking Kyle Rittenhouse, the whole thing was videotaped a million times from different angles. We all saw that, but we're not going to look into Ghislaine Maxwell's trial at all. It just shows the media is a fucking joke. It's an absolute travesty. So hopefully more gets out about that. I mean, I will talk about that more the next time this podcast comes out. So last time it came out was 6 months ago or something like that. And hopefully it's not gonna be 6 months again. Let's talk about Joe Rogan for a second, or as he's being known in certain circles as Dr. Joe Rogan. How Dana White tested positive for COVID and he went on, I forgot who, I think he went on Pat McAfee, which is what the same thing Aaron Rodgers did. But Rodgers and Dana White both, no, it was TMZ that I saw this, I'm sorry. And they were talking about doing the Rogan treatment, which is ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies, and a shit ton of vitamins, NAD, whatever, all this stuff. And they all say the same thing. I felt a lot better. I felt a lot better after doing all the shit that Rogan said. And it's not like it's the Rogan treatment. It's treatment that he has listened to the smartest people in their fields in his thousands of hours of podcasting and having a 3-hour conversation sitting down with these individuals from what we see, which is actually released on his podcast. And these conversations probably go more off fucking screen and text, and he probably got sick and he called whoever the fuck it is that he called. It wasn't like it was his treatment, but it's being used in jest. The idea that it's the Rogan treatment now. It's just treatment that's been recommended by doctors, and Rogan's getting, I don't know if you want to call it credit or the slack for it because the media doesn't like it. Fauci says no. If you're not with Fauci, you're not with the science. But I'm with Fauci, so I think Rogan's very wrong on this. I'm with the science. With Fauci. Tony, Paisan, how we doing here? Anyway, when I get sick with something and I talk to my buddy that's gotten sick with the same thing or similar symptoms or whatever the fuck, and he says, "Oh, you know what I took for that? I took this thing and I felt better, blah, blah." I'm like, "Oh, really? Let me go see if I could get this thing. Let me talk to my doctor. Let me go online. Let me try to find, yeah, it worked for you. Maybe it'll work for me." That doesn't work with Joe Rogan, though. What we're being told to do is if you get sick, lock yourself in a closet, don't talk to anybody, put your cloth, KN95, N95, surgical mask on, and just hope you feel better. Forget about ivermectin, which has been around for decades now, decades longer than the vaccines. Forget about monoclonal antibodies, which is said to give you 8 months of protection from COVID. Forget about vitamins and whatever. Just go lock yourself in the room. Feel better. Isolate. So you're an idiot for trying to listen to a guy that spends 3 hours at a time, I'm sure way longer than any of these idiots on CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, and yes, Fox News. Even though Fox News is like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they see Joe Rogan as the enemy to CNN and whatever, all these other left-wing media outlets. So they have been more or less in support of Rogan's side of things. But Fox News is as big of a joke as the other media outlets. So those are my, I know everybody's been dying to hear my opinions on that shit. That's pretty much my opinion on most of these things now. Um, that's pretty much it of what I have. I've been wanting to get this out here. If you're watching the YouTube, you see this is a professional studio now. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is an evolving concept. I don't know what the fuck the future holds here at the Tony Talks Empire. But I'm thankful for anybody that is listening and anybody that will listen in the future. Social media outlets, links will be posted along with this podcast. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. I'm told you're supposed to say that when you do this shit. At Tony Talks Comedy on major uh, social media outlets until they see how much I am with the science. Because I don't think anybody's with the science as much as I am. And maybe that's a little bit of gaslighting. Maybe that's a little bit of, I don't know, me just wanting to prove to people how much the boosters and the vaccines mean to me. But I hope they continue to have me. And I hope you continue to have me in your ear, in your minds, and in your hearts. All right, that's it. Have a good one. I'll talk to you next time. Go fuck yourselves. Tony Talks out.